Hi, I'm Louise Osbourne and I run Acting for Screen in the Midlands. I'm originally from Dublin, Ireland, but I lived in LA for 8 years where I worked as an actor and on crew. I worked on a lot of big budget films where I had the pleasure of watching massive actors like Warren Beatty, Eddie Murphy, Robin Williams act on screen. And I found it so interesting that no matter how big they are, how many Oscars they've won, first day of shooting, they're all really nervous that they're going to be believable. So I took this on board as an actor and a writer and producer, and I moved back to Ireland and I took an acting for screen class with a director called Vinnie Murphy. And for 5 years I took this camera class. It was absolutely amazing because every week as an actor, if I was out of work, I would go on camera and I would see myself and I would do scene work and scene study. And then I relocated to the Midlands and I was totally shocked to find no such class existed here. So with encouragement from my acting teacher and director Vinnie Murphy, I set up my own. Acting for Screen is for aspiring actors that want to work out their dream and see if they can become a TV and film actor. Every week in my class I put actors in front of the camera doing scenes from films, monologues, improvs, and after 12 weeks of seeing yourself in front of the camera, you would be surprised how confident you actually become. You don't worry about the auditions so much, you worry about your character you're playing, about having fun, being prepared, being audition ready. I think it's quite funny while I was in LA that all the actors I knew consistently took classes. Even if they were working actors, when they finish their feature film, they go straight back into class. But in England and Ireland, for some reason, we think we don't need to consistently train. So when the big audition comes along, we're unprepared and we fluff it. So I set up Acting for Screen to prepare actors to be audition ready. I think actors need to treat their acting skills like athletes do or musicians do, which is constantly rehearsing and practicing, running, playing the guitar, practicing guitar, but actors need to take classes to do that. And my class is a really good example of becoming an actor and watching yourself on screen every week, preparing yourself, learning lines, being friendly with your other partners and going on screen every week and learning and watching yourself on screen and dispelling some of your myths about what you thought might look good, which is not actually acting. I don't teach any method of acting. I just teach to be. Be yourself playing this character. And it's not just for people who have had a dream about acting but never did anything. My class is for actors that have worked for 25 years as working actors and paid actors, but they want to sharpen their tool. There's stuff that they're lacking and they need to have the technique taught to them again. They need to have that on-screen vulnerability, that power, that what they're lacking because they're sitting at home waiting for an audition. You need to be out there doing it every week. And it's also about the contacts you make. You might meet somebody in class and end up working with them, writing things together, shooting short films together. I've got actors from 2 terms ago that work together constantly. They are a little production team. They've bought a camera, they're writing short films together. And, so not only is my acting class an amazing experience for a first-time actor, for an actor that's come straight from TV, straight off the stage, you will learn an abundance of screen work and tips about acting in front of the camera. The differences between acting for camera and acting for theatre is the obvious one. If you're on stage and you have to project your voice to the back of a theatre, you've got to be big. Everything, all your movements have to be big, your facial expressions, your voice has to carry to the back of an auditorium. If you are big in front of the camera, you're overacting and people and audiences that are watching you back won't believe you. It's got to be real. You've got to be real. And as a theatre actor on stage, you're playing a caricature. Your character is big, whereas on screen, in front of that tiny little lens, you've got to be small. You've got to be believable. And to bring it down is to make it believable. Every blink, every moment, every sigh is powerful in front of the lens. So it's about the training for a theatre actor to make everything smaller, make everything intimate, make everything last a bit longer and be a little bit slower and be a little bit quieter. The camera picks up every nuance in your face, in your eyes. If your eyes are angry, depressed, sad, happy, that's a readable thing with a camera, and it's not on stage. So I find theatre actors come to my class and they get it really quick, a couple of weeks in, and they've nailed how to be small, and they understand. And watching it back every week also, they can see it straight away. They think they're doing nothing, but they're actually being perfect. You know, they feel like they should do more, but when you watch it back, you're convinced when you see yourself how real and how believable you actually are. My class is a 12-week class. It's from 7 o'clock to 10 every Wednesday night in the Mac in Birmingham. And the layout of the class is that I email all the actors scene from a film on a Monday. On a Wednesday evening, I pair everybody off and I send them out for 20 minutes to rehearse. Then everybody comes back in and I film all the scenes together. We all sit down together and we watch them back. And we talk about instincts that you may have followed that weren't truthful instincts, or a moment that you took that it was an amazing moment, and I pause it and we watch it and we say, wow, wasn't that amazing? And after that, I call everybody out one by one and I give them improv scenarios. And this is where the fun starts in the class, because there's no script involved. They can talk to each other about the improv scenario I've given them, but then I roll the camera, put them all together, and we see what happens. And sometimes it's amazing. I mean, I've actually written short films about some of the improvs that we've done in class. Other times it goes round in circles and I have to teach them that in improv, you've got to make a choice to make things more interesting. You can't keep talking about the same subject I've given you. But improvs is the part of class when we watch it back that everybody has a laugh in, because we never know what's going to happen next. Every week you get the scene that you've done the previous week. So on Friday, I send you a link so you have a clip of the scene that you've done. So at the end of 3 months, you would have 12 clips, monologues and scenes from films. And a lot of my actors that have signed up to Casting Call Pro and Star Now have put their scenes from my class on there. And even though they're ungraded and, you know, unedited basically, they still are getting auditions and parts from this, because if they're playing a gangster in class and they've played a gangster really well and they put that on Star Now, and a producer or a casting director is looking for that exact person, they don't mind that this is an ungraded, unedited piece. They can see the talent and they're calling these actors that don't have a show reel. They only have my workshop. So a lot of the actors that come are brand new to acting. So the first thing they need to do is build their confidence, which they do by getting up in front of 10 people and being filmed and watching it back. The second thing that we do is about understanding techniques of auditioning and being professional. So I would teach them how to audition. So when you walk into a casting room for a commercial, a casting director is going to ask you to hit your mark and do an ident and profiles. And if you don't know what they are, you A, look really unprofessional to the casting director, and B, the lines that you've been rehearsing in the casting room before you went in are all messed up in your head now because you can't believe you've had to ask them to explain. So I teach the lingo of going for auditions. You only have 2 minutes in that room. You've got to be friendly. They've got to see that they could work with you, that you're not going to be a diva, you're not going to be demanding or late. They've got to see that you can take direction, which is really important. You've got to be able to take direction. So if you've rehearsed something one way and you get into a casting room and they say, that was quite good, but we'd like to do it a little bit different. We want you to be angry from the top, and you have this in your head that that's not how I did it, then they don't want to work with you. You've got to be able to be directed. When you're called for an audition, the casting director has put their faith in you. For their job, they've said, right, this person, I've seen them before, they're really good. So you have to understand that when you're sitting in that waiting room with all those other actors, it's easy to get, oh my God, am I worthy, basically. But you have to understand that they have chosen you to be there because they believe that you can do the job and they believe that you can get the part. So you have to believe it. You've got to believe before you walk in the room that you're there because you deserve to be there, because they want you to get the part. In my acting for screen classes, there are very specific things that you won't find in a book and a lot of people won't tell you. And we go through these things for 3 months. So at the end of the term, you have learned an invaluable lessons about how to nail auditions and other specific things that are really, really important to be a screen actor and to be a working screen actor, and how to get the jobs and book the jobs and how to apply for the jobs. I mean, the admin side of the business, nobody likes to talk about, but the admin side is how you get seen. The admin side, the business side, is how you write letters to casting directors and agents Otherwise, they don't know you exist. Even if you haven't got a show reel, if you've nothing on your CV, if you have made contact with a casting director and said, I'm doing this acting for screen workshop, I've got a clip here if you'd like to see it, they may have just had a job land on their desk and you might be the exact person they're looking for. But if you haven't written to them, they don't know you exist, so they're not going to call you. But in my class, there are a lot of things that you won't hear anywhere else, and you will be audition ready at the end of my term.